lands on Ukrainian soil, destroying infrastructure every day. We're talking about indiscriminate bombing and killing of innocent men, women, and children daily. You know, our hope has to be that Vladimir Putin is, I hope people around him are listening, remove him from his position. That would be the best solution. Bye-bye, Vladimir. It is absolutely in the world's interest to stop evil when we see it. And that's what's happening in Ukraine. And it's in the world's best interest to end the killing of innocents with funding and, by the way, weaponry to stop Putin's bloodthirsty hostility right there in its tracks. Now, right now in America, the American people are getting fed up. Support is waning for this. And one of the main reasons is Europe is once again relying on you, the American taxpayer, to pay their bill to cover their continent. They're not pulling their weight. Instead, they are taking advantage of we, the American people, all while our president pretty much is asleep at the wheel, and he put handcuffs on the Ukrainians in the past. That's now past time for Biden to demand that every single European country, you need to step up and you either pay your fair share, or it's time for Biden to say, no financial aid is coming from us. It will only be contingent on Europe going all the way in to protect their own continent and fight to win. We don't want to fight for a tie here. If you're going to fight, you got to fight to win. Now, that also means that Joe Biden has got to allow Poland to send in fighter jets. He allowed 4, finally. He has denied them that opportunity over and over again. In other words, if you're going to engage in a war, take off the handcuffs and fight to win the war, or go to the negotiating table and stop wasting our money and our time and creating yet another quagmire. Have we not learned anything from Afghanistan? Have we not learned anything from Iraq? You know, and unless and until Western Europe starts contributing their fair share, and until Biden commits to allowing Ukraine to win, until Biden allows Poland to give the 30 MiGs that they wanted to give Ukraine, U.S. aid has got to be stopped in the meantime. They have got to do their job. They have got to contribute. We are paying 3, 4, 5 times more than all of Western Europe combined. That's got to stop. Now, today, Poland did buck prior restrictions, and they became the first NATO member, and they did send desperately needed warplanes to Ukraine. That's a good start. Let them send another, 10,000 of them if they have them. Joe Biden stopped this numerous times, but for the first time, there will be MiG-29s handed over in the next few days. But they're going to need more than 4. Europe, you've got to step up, protect your continent financially, militarily, and then when you do your part, we, the people of the United States, will gladly help you financially if you're in it to win. And that means win and defeat Putin and end evil in our time. Now, the only way to stop a bully in his tracks is to make him fear you. Putin needs to know that he will not win the war in Ukraine. He doesn't believe that right now. He needs to know that we will not put up with his hostile behavior. Right now, Putin does not fear Joe Biden. Neither does President Xi. Neither does Kim Jong-un. Neither do the mullahs in Iran. The White House doesn't, they don't even talk tough. They act like, oh, this was probably just a little accident. Probably an untrained pilot. What happened when they, not once, but twice, poured fuel on our drones and then took it out of the sky? Are you kidding me? That was an accident? Putin's thugs now caught on tape downing a sophisticated U.S. Reaper drone. What did Biden do? Nothing. No one in this administration will even call it what it is. They are declaring war on the United States if you take down our drone. I don't want war with Russia. Nobody wants war with Russia. However, a message to Putin needs to be sent. Some people are pretending that it was just, one big accident at the hands of these incompetent Russian pilots. Really? They were that incompetent that they were able to drop on a tiny drone fuel from their jets while they were flying the jet? That doesn't sound like an accident to me. According to our sources, this drone was in fact targeted because of a direct order from Moscow. That means it had Vladimir Putin's seal of approval. And get this, right now, Russian ships, not our ships, Russian ships are in the Black Sea trying to recover our drone that they took down. This is eerily similar to Biden's cowardly inaction as a Chinese spy balloon flew over U.S. military and nuclear bases all the way from Alaska to Idaho to Montana to Missouri to Kansas to Kentucky to the Carolinas. That happened for a full week and Biden did nothing. So what the world is seeing is a U.S. president that is weak. He is cognitively compromised, inept, both at home and abroad. And frankly, the world's worst actors know all of this, and they are now taking full advantage. Sadly, we, the American people, we're going to end up paying for all of this. And you're going to pay, by the way, for Europe because they're not protecting their own continent. And you're going to be paying for Biden's rich friends who deposited millions in that very liberal, leftist, elite Silicon Valley woke bank. And make no mistake, this is a Biden billionaire bank bailout. You know, best question from James Langford today came in, well, if this happens to my constituents in Oklahoma, are they going to get the same deal? Janet Yellen said, nope. So why should we be paying for millionaires and billionaires out in Silicon Valley? Anyway, no matter how hard Janet Yellen tries to spin it, how hard she tries to sell it, it doesn't work. Take a look.
We worked with the Federal Reserve and FDIC to protect all depositors of the two failed banks. On Monday morning, customers were able to access all of the money in their deposit accounts so they could make payroll and pay the bills. Shareholders and debt holders are not being protected by the government. Importantly, no taxpayer money is being used or put at risk with this action.
All right, it only gets worse from there because you are bailing out very wealthy Americans. It's going to be your tax dollars or fees that you pay to banks as they raise these fees, but also Chinese nationals who deposited money in SVB. Well, guess who predicted all of this? Turns out if you go to 2016, then candidate Trump, listen to what he said in a debate with Hillary Clinton.
We have the worst revival of an economy since the Great Depression. And believe me, we're in a bubble right now. And the only thing that looks good is the stock market. But if you raise interest rates even a little bit, that's going to come crashing down. We are in a big, fat, ugly bubble. And we better be awfully careful. And we have a Fed that's doing political things. This Janet Yellen of the Fed. The Fed is doing political by keeping the interest rates at this level. And believe me, the day Obama goes off and he leaves and he goes out to the golf course for the rest of his life to play golf, when they raise interest rates, you're going to see some very bad things happen because the Fed is not doing their job. The Fed is being more political than Secretary Clinton.
Here with Reaction, Fox News contributor Kellyanne Conway, Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. Kellyanne, let me start with you. First of all, I do not like to see this great country of ours that we all love not respond when hostile actions are taken by China and Russia. What should the reaction be?
Sure. Well, so much chaos and crisis going on. I think those are the two words that define the Biden administration. It's international, it's global. I think that banks seem vulnerable, bills seem insurmountable, and the bailouts for all of the above seem all but certain. But people should know the news today because the White House is not going to tell them, Sean. It was revealed that China is sending body armor and other weapons of war to China. And we know what they're doing with that. They're killing Ukrainians. And even the German chancellor, I think in the last day or so, has warned China against sending some types of arms. But you're right. People in Western Europe should start paying up for the common defense in Ukraine if they want Ukraine, of course, to succeed and Putin to fail. This reminds me of something else President Trump not just said, but did while he was president. Sean and Congressman, he made sure that our partners in NATO contributed more to the common defense. I watched him with some of those world leaders. They'd be in the middle of a conversation, the interpreters would be going back and forth, you're minding your business, taking notes, and all of a sudden, in any language, it was, you got to start paying. It says here you're paying 0.5%. You're paying 0.5%. You got to pony up. And he made that difference. People need to wake up, and I think folks are. Quickly, the polling says that Republicans and independents say the greatest country that's a threat to the United States is China, followed by Russia.
Oh, they're right.
And it's the same for Democrats, but Democrats, they're only separated by 9 points. Republicans, it's 81-10. Independents, China over Russia. Independents, it's 67% say China, and somewhere in the 20s say Russia. But now they're in cahoots. Look what China did last week. They're proud to broker a deal. They want to play peacemaker between Iran and Saudi Arabia. That makes us all nervous for Israel.
Michael Waltz, no consequences for China and the balloon incident, no consequences for Russia and the drone incident, and we should not, we should not be bailing out billionaires and millionaire liberal friends of Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. Why are we doing that, and how do you stop it?
Well, Sean, to your first point, this is how you restore deterrence. President Trump restored deterrence because dictators are going to push until they meet steel. When the Russians pressed too hard in Syria, when they crossed a red line, he bombed them and killed 300 Russian mercenaries. When the Iranians shot down our drone over the Arabian Gulf, when they attacked our embassy, he took out Soleimani, he took out their field general, and guess what? It all stopped. And final point on the Europeans, we've contributed over $30 billion, I think rightly, to stop the Ukrainians.
Yeah.
UK, $4 billion, Germany at less than 3, Italy at less than 1. I've introduced a measure that they should match us dollar for euro. If the European Union economy is the same size as the United States, they've got to step up, and should put a finger in their chest, and should be demanding that they do more. And instead, Biden inviting them into kind of this kumbaya session with having the German chancellor in the
I'll
Oval
tell you right
Office.
now.
2% of their defense budget, and then
Well, you're breaking up a little bit, but I will thank you both, but I will tell you, if we don't defend this country and we let this continue, we're only going to have more. When we come back, the brothers in the Jussie Smollett race hoax, right here in studio, straight at
Jussie Smollett, an actor who films the hit TV show Empire, told police he's the victim